Okay, so here are our objectives for today's webinar, the four things that we really want you to leave this session with. And our goal is that at the session's end, you'll be able to understand the course readings process, to identify course readings and multimedia that come from the library, to know what your options are for accessing course materials, and to understand what to do when something's broken. We don't like when that happens, but it really helps if you know the next steps to take. So let's start with, what are we talking about when we talk about a course reading? Well, first of all, we're not talking about a course textbook or those materials that you're required to purchase. So for every course that you take at Walden, your syllabus, which is located in Blackboard, will tell you which textbook or textbooks that students taking that course will need to buy. And unfortunately, the library isn't usually able to get those textbooks, and you'll have to read at least portions of your textbook at different points during your course. So when we're talking about course readings, we're not talking about those portions that you have to read from your textbooks. In most of your courses, you have this additional list of materials that your instructors want you to explore, this additional list of materials that they may feel will contribute to your understanding of the coursework or maybe some important aspect of your field at large. And that additional list of stuff that you're also expected to look at in addition to your textbooks is what we're talking about when we talk about course readings. So here's what happens in this process. So we begin with the course developers. A team of course developers get together and form a list of resources that they think all students taking that course should be required to look at. So articles or reports that they want you to read, videos that they might want you to watch. Sometimes it's even a chart or some other document they think will somehow directly benefit you as a student taking that course. So these are not suggestions for learning, but actually works that you're required to explore to prepare yourself for that point in your course or for the next point coming up. But many of those things are available through the library. So, for example, many of these works that they want you to read are articles published in academic journals, even a handful of articles published in newspapers. Most academic libraries subscribe to databases that have a lot of those journal and newspaper articles, and even some of those videos. So when those course developers have finalized that list of additional resources, the library is going to sneak in and look to see if any of those readings or videos from that list are things that we have. And we'll take those things that we do have access to that we can offer students through the library and find those links that would take a student directly to that resource. So we'll put those links together to form a course guide excuse me, for that course, a course guide that lets you as students in that course access those additional materials without having to buy them and get them to you through the library whenever that's possible. So what we see here is a comparison of those things that are available through the library and then those things that are not. And we really need to start out by pointing something out that may seem a little bit off topic, but it's a pretty important point for you to remember. The only required course materials that you should be paying for are your textbooks, or whatever's listed as a course text under the course materials section of your syllabus. All other required materials, whether they're articles, videos, reports, charts, or some other document, will either be available through the library or they're going to be available to you through Blackboard or the instructions for access through Blackboard. So the library side on the left here includes those articles, ebooks, and videos that the library has access to due to them being available in the collections that we subscribe to. So resources available through the library, they're going to have some sort of reference to the library. So something like you will access this article from the Walden Library databases or retrieved from the Walden Library. So what's not available through the library, well, okay, resources that are considered textbooks. We just talked about that. But also those resources that are produced by Laureate Education or Laureate Media. You have some some videos you may have seen that have that in the resource details. And most optional readings that are listed are things that we usually don't have access to. But this non-library list also includes resources that are linked in or available through Blackboard. So that can be anything from Microsoft Word documents to just linked web pages. There are even some articles out there that can only be purchased at the classroom level. They can't be bought at the library level. So they're only available through Blackboard. But you won't see the library mentioned in the citations or the resource details for any of those materials. So to get to the course readings, that course readings list, the course guide that the library puts together, and access your course materials, you have a couple of options. You have from the library homepage, you can click on the big course guides box that's located on the right-hand side of the website. And in Blackboard, you can often find that in your syllabus or in, depending on how your course is set up, your weeks or modules. So each week or module may have a resource or resource list sort of tab or a link that will give you a list of those additional materials that the course developers, the instructors, want you to take a look at. So what we're going to do is I'm going to get out of PowerPoint and I want to show this to you live. So we are at the library homepage. Easy way to get here, library.waldenu.edu. And we can click on course guides on the in the upper right. And you can do this for every course that you take. Not every course has a guide, but it's worth checking just to see if yours has that, because you'll have access to those materials. And so if I were taking Psychology 3005, I can scroll down, click on the first letter for the letter P, and then on the 4-letter code for my course, and then just scroll down and find my number. And so by doing that, I'll just click on this one. By doing that, I'll see a list of the materials that are available through the library. This isn't going to have any of those extra resources. Those non-library resources that we talked about may be linked in Blackboard, web page, Word document, but it's going to have those things that are available through the library. And so we can click here. I'm going to open in a new tab, and then we'll be able to access that resource right from the links that are available to you in that course guide. Okay, so you could see that's the full article. And one thing I want to point out, this mystery session is about course readings, but we do want to point out that there's also assignment guides that are available in select course guides. So if we click on this week 5 discussion link on the left, you can see that this actually gives step-by-step instructions for accomplishing that discussion post or that weekly assignment, whatever might have a guide for that course. So let's just take a quick look in Blackboard how this might look. I'm enrolled here in the EDUC, the Education 6616 course, and we talked about going to the syllabus section. You can go down to the course materials section. So I'll just scroll down, and you'll see under that section, it'll list you what it considers to be your course text. And there may be more than one. Any items that you need to purchase are going to be listed here. There may be a note sometimes that you should have purchased this for a previous course. Pay attention to anything like that, because there will be some cases where you've already had to get it, and so it might be in your vital source bookshelf. And below that, you'll see that there is the course readings list. This is a link to the course guide. So I can click on this and be taken to the course guide for that course. You'll notice here that it actually has a link to the article. There's only one in this one. We have a few assignment guides. Now, this is actually going to be shown um, in the weekly or the modules sections of the course as well. So let's say we'll go back to the main page, and instead of going through the syllabus, let's just say that we were in Module 3. Now, resources or resource list, if you go into those sections, you'll see those additional materials or the library materials, whatever you're supposed to explore during that week. And we can see that this says Jensen, How Poverty Affects Classroom Engagement, which is actually this article here. So we know that we can come to this guide and access the full text right from that page. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and switch this over to Julie.
Thanks, Tracy. I wanted to show you something that took me a little bit of time to figure out. This may have been obvious to you, but it wasn't obvious to me, that in Blackboard, some of the links have this blue arrow on them, and some of them are not links. And it took me a while to realize that I should stop clicking on the ones that don't have the blue arrow. So I thought that might be helpful if somebody else was having the same problem. To know whether the article is actually going to be linked in the classroom or not, that blue arrow. And your examples were great because there were so many different types of materials there. And one of the things that I really like about Walden is how they're constantly refreshing these lists, putting newer items on there and all of that. But everything doesn't always work perfectly, unfortunately. What happens when the link doesn't work? And that can be for a number of reasons. Sometimes the publishers will change their access for us without giving us notice on that. And it's a surprise to us as it is to you that we can't get to that link. Sometimes it's just a browser issue. And so I put that as number one, because if you get a blank screen or an error message when you click a link that should be going to full text, try an alternate browser. We've noticed that a lot in the last year or two, that the browsers seem to get gummed up a lot more than they used to. And after you've been searching for something for an hour, it starts to get confused. And so if you use Chrome as your primary, Firefox is an excellent backup. If you are using IE or Safari, you should have something else as an alternate, and just try it the next time you hit a dead end that is blank, and quite frequently it will work. My number two tip for when the link is broken is to check Google Scholar. And that is surprisingly easy. If you've linked your Walden Library to Google Scholar, you can search the title of the article in Google Scholar and see if we have a Find at Walden link to it. And sometimes it'll be able to find that through a cross-database search, just because the system has backups. We get the same journals from a couple of different sources, and depending on the article that you're looking for, we may be able to find it from a different source. And the number three tip is to ask for help, because frequently we don't know that the link is broken until a student reports it. But for the library links, we can fix those immediately if it's available in another database, and the rest of the class can have it conveniently located. And then if we have lost access to that particular article, we can see if we can purchase it. There's a number of different ways that we can try to fix it, but frequently it's the student that tells us that they're not working. So please do report them. You can report Blackboard type issues to student support from within Blackboard, and that really helps because they can tell exactly where you were clicking from. And then if it's on the library website, Ask a Librarian is your best bet. And it's helpful if you can copy and paste not just the citation, but also tell us what the course code is and what week it is. Sometimes it takes a really long time to find these references so that we can correct them and make them work for everybody else. Okay, we have a question. Oh, we have a question about what happens if you still cannot find the resources. And that's, I think that question came in before I started talking about that. But when you can't find the resources from the course, uh, that would be when you go back to our 1, 2, 3. Try in an alternate browser if that could possibly be the issue. The Google Scholar tip, you can go to this link from the handouts, or you can find it just on our website. From our library website here, we have a number of links up here. Under Start Your Research, we've got the special Google Scholar link that links to Walden here and has the instructions for linking Google Scholar. But most often, Get Help is useful. This Get Help page is one of the best pages on our website because it has so many different ways of resolving your problems. If you think it might be a browser issue, but you're not exactly sure how to fix it, we have some browser settings in here. We have instructions on clearing your cache. That can be useful. We have different settings if you have tinkered with the settings, or if you're using a computer at your workplace or at your school. Usually the browsers will work straight out of the gate for most of these resources. But if you're having trouble with lots of different resources, that may be something to look at. Other things that are on our Get Help page here are the library skills guides. If you're feeling really lost and you just need some help on specific things, these library skills guides are short, to the point, and can really be helpful. Tutorials, if you prefer a step-by-step way of looking at things. And then these recorded webinars, like the one we're doing right now. You can go look at our previous Mysteries webinars under the recorded webinars for library skills. And you can make an investment in time by watching some of these at the beginning of your coursework, and then it'll go a lot more smoothly in the long run. The last thing I'd like to show you on, oh, two things I'd like to show you on the Get Help page. This quick answers is really helpful, because if you know there's something on the library website but you can't find it, which is quite frequently where I am, I use this quick answers every day to find these things. And it's not just library stuff. We also have academic skills center items, writing center items, things like that in the quick answers. And then Ask a Librarian. We have 4 different ways you can ask a librarian. Email is the most efficient because you can copy and paste the citation and your course information into here. And we have different shifts throughout the day. So it says we typically respond to your question within 24 hours, but it's usually much more quickly than that. And then if you scroll down to the chat, it'll tell you that we have chat hours open right now. These are in Eastern time, twice a day today, once on Tuesdays. And if the chat live button, it says chat live, then you can pop right in and chat with us for quick questions. We can't really do some involved literature reviews through chat, but we can answer quick questions pretty easily. The phone goes to voicemail, and we generally can't give you a call back. We respond by email. Okay, I just wanted to let you know that, because we do get folks leaving a message that are expecting a call back, but that's really just not feasible with the number of students we have. And then if you are a doctoral student, you can make a doctoral research appointment with the subject specialist here. So all these other ways are helpful, ways that we can help you get to the course readings if something has gone wrong. Do we have any questions about any of these types of ways of helping you, types of ways to getting to your readings? What other questions do you have?
I don't see any questions so far.
This is a quiet bunch. Did I skip over
It sure
anything?
is.
I know. Is everything good there? Let's see. I see somebody has a hand raised, but turning microphones on for this many people is kind of difficult. Can you type your question in the question box? Well, maybe we answered the question for the hand raise.
Yeah,
Oh,
if you're like us and you think about your question like after the webinar is over, then just ask a librarian. Remember what Julie just showed you, this page we're looking at, and you'll get help.
and really the email, sometimes we get it back to you in just a few minutes. So don't feel like you can't reach out to us for anything by email. And if we don't know the answer, we can probably find out for you. Okay.
Someone is asking one question, how do I get to the course guide?
Oh, to the course guide. I find the easiest way to get to the library homepage is just type library.waldenu.edu, and
Yeah,
that
me
will
too.
redirect to all that academic guides business. This is the library homepage, and the big blue course guides button is here. So you go to the course guides button, and then you go by the code on your course. So if I'm in a nursing course, I would go to NURS, and then they're in numerical order here, and that's how you get to your course guide. Now, if you don't have a course guide for your course, then we have not been told that you have any readings that are located in the library. If you are supposed to have a course guide and you don't, that would be a good time to ask a librarian and go to library help and ask librarian.
Okay, we
And
have
go ahead.
we do have a question. Please show me again how to get to Google Scholar.
Google Scholar has become very, very useful these days. We have a special link that's on under Start Your Research here to Google Scholar. And the reason why you would use this link is because it is coded to Walden Library Holdings. So if you find an article citation and it recognizes, and you've linked up, and you either do it through this box here or you've linked up your Google Scholar to Walden Library, it'll show you the Find at Walden links to the right of the citations. If you are a regular user of Google Scholar like I am, and you put a Google Scholar button on your toolbar, you can link that up to Walden Library to see the Find at Walden links there as well. If you are searching for a known item in Google Scholar, and that's really what I use it for, because I don't think it does a great job of discovering things, specific work. If you're looking for a known item, though, put in the title of the article only into Google Scholar. If you put the whole citation with the authors and the publication dates and all of that, it gets confused, but it will usually match the title exactly. Okay. What other questions do you have?
I don't see any more in the questions pane.
Well,
A
very
couple of
good.
thank yous.
Okay. Well, you're very welcome, and I hope this was helpful to you. And if you have any other suggestions on short sessions like this that we can do to help you unravel the mysteries of the library, please put them in the survey that you'll get after the webinar is ended.
Yeah, and please, do be specific. If there's something that you find yourself just a little bit lost about, or find yourself having to refigure out over and over, please let us know because we want to tackle those things. Um, that would be most helpful.
And we're here to help you succeed, so let us know how we can do that. Thanks, everyone. Good night.
Thank you.